Hello. Thank you for the having chat stuff as usual, Sasami-chan. That actually helps the algorithm a lot. Even if it's complete nonsense, it works. But in your case, it's not. It's you going, oh, we're going live now? Yeah, I thought like, I've got this counter and everything. I may as well hit the live button and then switch over once it's ready. Ah, but nice Star Trek reference. Scotty was always one of my favorite engineers. Yeah, I also like the times that he appeared in other shows. Like there was the Knight Rider 2000 movie, um, where he was in there as a cameo, actually as the actor, actually as the person himself. He was playing in that movie. It was kind of funny, but he actually quoted Star Trek after they accidentally zapped him because they misidentified him as someone else. Of course. Then I remember the scene in, I believe it's Star Trek Search of Home or something like that. I'm trying to remember. It's one of the classic movies where they traveled back in time to get whales. And Scotty picks up the mouse and goes, "Hello, computer." And I'm like, yeah, that's a little too early for that. Okay, well, as usual, we're back into Blender today. Thank you all for joining me. Just the usual stuff. If you're catching this on the video on demand section, welcome. Comment down below on your thoughts, your hints and tricks and tips for Blender if you want. Um, if you have better ideas of how to build shaders, I've seen lots of shader tutorials online. I would like to build my own because I want to know the shader better. Once I build my own, I may actually end up using other people's because they may have features that I would prefer to use over mine. Don't know. I just like to figure out the inner workings of the stuff I'm using first before I go about using it. Um, Also, I noticed some more weirdness with the references in the MLP references, I should say. Like, if you look at this here, you see this nail here in the wood, which is kind of interesting because if you look at the other image here, how I noticed that there was a nail missing. And wait a minute. I think I just. Gonna go back to the other image now. Oh my god. This little gray dot right here that's a nail. Yeah, it stays there. If you go over to this other image, this is the screenshot, I should say. Move over here. This belongs here. This little gray dot is not a nail on this wall. It's a nail on this. That is funny. So on this texture, I can actually, once things catch up to me, remove that dot because I don't need it there. It's actually on the. Wow. Okay. That is some funny stuff right there. Okay. Well, I think I'm just gonna leave it. I don't really need to remove it, but it's funny that it actually shouldn't be there. The only reason it's there is because they didn't select it when they were resizing this, which they didn't need to do. What's really odd, though, is like this is supposed to be the pretty brand new house after they rebuild it. And this is actually from a later season, I believe. And it's right there. And wow. Why did they even resize the porch? I'm still trying to figure that one out. Why did they even resize the porch? It is the oddest thing. Okay, so today we're going to basically, I think we're gonna be able to finish off the roof today. Just need to rearrange these till they match the reference image here. So it actually looks like this section right here should actually be larger. Okay. So I'm gonna open up Affinity Designer, and why don't we just do a quick highlight on that and scale it up. Save on that. Export. Because if I can get that to the right size, I can actually use that as a reference point for all the other lines and get them all set up. And then there's me, who forgot to put his phone on Do Not Disturb while he's streaming. Okay, there we go. Also double check some stuff. Yeah, that's down, that's done. Yep, okay. Now export this document. And look at what's on my Jan set. Yeah, and this is less about animation errors, and it's more like they just didn't like there's actually no reason for them to have changed that aspect of the Kingdom Hearts Crusaders Clubhouse. There was no reason for them to resize the balcony. Why did they resize the balcony? Because they made it smaller in the give me a second here, what I would call a hero shot of the Kingdom Hearts Crusaders Clubhouse, because it's right after they finish rebuilding it. And that close-up shot, for some reason, they resized the porch. And I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so I'm gonna look up something real quick here. Okay, open up this settings. Go to the keypad. Click on Blender. Aha. There we go. Okay. Feels really close. Okay. And yes, we do have computers can talk to now. Still not very well. Still nothing like the computers on the Star Trek Enterprise. Because the computers on the Star Trek Enterprise were very good at picking up on syntax and what you actually meant when you said something. Because all AI, and what we have we're actually calling AI right now really isn't AI. It's just learning algorithms that make algorithms for us. Excuse me. Because basically, what a learning algorithm is it's an algorithm that um, changes itself over time based on input, and then that builds us an algorithm we can use to do unique things based on inputs. So it's not really AI yet, because it's not really intelligence. It's not really doing anything super unique with the data yet. It's just a very advanced algorithm that can do some really cool stuff, like fill in holes in images and repair them so you can't tell that they were ever damaged. Um, so basically, it learns to do certain tasks in an interesting way. It's very handy. These learning algorithms are really neat. I've seen some really cool stuff out of learning algorithms. They basically reduce how much work we have to do on certain things, like noise reduction on images, noise reduction in audio. Because I've been playing around with the noise reducer AI learning algorithm that's doing the audio right now, and it's pretty dang good. And some of the more commercial stuff I've seen are really amazing. Like one of the algorithms I was playing around with before I found this open source version can actually remove snapping from an audio clip. So you can actually talk and snap at the same time, and you don't hear the snapping. Because the learning algorithm got so good at listening for the human voice that it can remove everything but the human voice. So it just keeps the human voice. So no matter what other sounds there are, it keeps the human voice. So it's really neat. Though I've noticed it's a little bit iffy when it comes to certain voices. I haven't really done some super tests on it. This is very anecdotal, however you say that word. Basically my own experience, but it's not the friendliest to female voices as it is to male voices, which is a very common problem with a lot of learning algorithms because the people who train the learning algorithms don't bother to give it a very nice, huge data set of a variety of different voices outside of the male white range. So that's the thing. It's like if you want to train something, give it a lot of data. When I mean a lot of data, I mean a lot of data for a lot of different areas, so it knows different situations it's going to run into. Ah, so Sami-chan was saying some neat stuff. Let's read that. Yeah, those are really neat ones. Those are like language algorithms, language learning algorithms, and those are getting really neat. They're getting very close to passing the like gold standard AI test, which a lot of people now go like, it's not even that good if you really think about it, because a lot of things can fool humans. So having an AI that can fool a human into thinking it's a human is not really that much of a test. Okay, so we did this, we do this. Okay, I readjusted that. Save. Export. Excuse me. Save that. Ah, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, that feels about right. We've got this corner in. Now we can use that corner as a reference for all the other lines. Okay. So I'm going to actually switch back to the other image we have since it's a slightly higher resolution image of the ceiling. It's going to be a little easier to identify certain parts. Okay, so... Ah. Ah, excuse me. Don't know where that came from. Okay. So we can use this line here and where it points. Yeah. Wow. Apparently my nose is very sneezy today. Ah. Okay, so... Jeez. Ah. Ah. Stupid nose? That's what I was looking for. Okay. There's the option I was looking for. Okay, so it does that. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Ah, stupid nose. Okay. So, okay, I have an idea. Do that. Now, is there a way to edit this? Ah, polygon. That's actually what I want. That. There we go. Okay. That. Take it back to that. Okay, so this actually cuts through this line. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, playing around with like learning algorithms and AI stuff is really fun. Like I said, I played around with there was this one website where I don't know where they got all their images. I wish they would say and give credit to people who they pulled images from, but it's this website that allows you to use the learning algorithms to create your own unique art piece by just basically moving sliders around. and the algorithm will produce images based on these sliders, and it's really kind of neat. Like I said, the only issue I have with it is the fact that, like, did you get permission from the artists to use their work in this algorithm's database? And why aren't you giving credit to any artists? Because I know these are all technically considered unique works, but they are using styles based on someone else's work. So it would make sense for you to give credit to all the artists where you got this data from. Okay. Now back to this. Okay, so that tells me that this line is a little off. It needs to be, the bottom actually needs to swing out a little bit further before I can really use it as a reference line. Okay, so just tilt this slightly here, grab this, hold over to there, save. Ugh. Export. Sorry for all the sniffing, but that sneezing, man. Ugh. So, like, what kind of learning AI algorithms would you like to find? More writing stuff, or image manipulation, or sound manipulation? Like some of the funnest, some of the, I should say, most interesting slash funnest stuff to play around with for me has been audio stuff, like how AI can duplicate people's voices with certain number of samples. There's actually one out there that only needs like a minute of audio from any given person, and it will create a very lifelike sounding voice. There's definitely errors when you get like complicated sentences out of it because it only has a little bit of data, but it's still really neat. I know that's a big problem there. There's a lot of commercial stuff that just Google's things, and they use it and they don't realize that, guys, you just don't have the rights to that. You realize that, right? Okay, I just found a new thing completely by accident. Excuse my nose, Jesus. Okay, take this. Oh, actually, a measurement thing. Oh, hey, and I can move that around. Oh, that's even handier than the notation tool. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That's a good way to do it. Okay, that feels about right. That line I'm working with right there. Can I have more than one? Yes, and oh. Well, that's handy. Oh, oh, hey, I can, it, it will lock to the edge of object. Aha! That's so cool. I did something there I didn't mean to do, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, so with that lined up correctly, Let's see how that looks. Okay. I want to write down some names and see what stories the AI creates, then draw an image from it. The one I used, the one I used to use, for example, I gave it Lucky was in the park and it gave me, and the dogs were there to, she's looked at the dogs. Hmm. Ah, that sounds very much like stuff I've played around with before. Okay, and I'll be right back. I realized it was getting a bit warm, so I remembered, like, oh yeah, I could turn on a fan. Okay, now let's go back to here, and let's put another line back down like this. Line up like so. Oop. Keep forgetting to hold down something. Okay. Hmm. Dee 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 dee. There we go. That's neat. Okay, close that up because I don't really need that. Okay, tweak left anywhere for a new measurement. Drag ruler segments to measure an angle. X to remove, act a ruler. Control while dragging to snap. Shift while dragging to measure surface thickness. Shift spacebar M to actually bring up the tool when I'm in other things. Okay. Let's see. Okay, the angle inside of this looks a lot sharper. Actually, no, it looks about the same if I look between this line and this line. So yeah, that's about the same. I wish I had a measurement tool over here. That would be handy. Nope, I don't get it when I switch over to paint. Don't need it for masks, so there we go. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, that feels... The angles feel about the same. Okay, that was weird. That's what I was looking for. There we go. Okay. Oop. There are some bots that can play video games. Um, there's like actually some that are so adept at playing video games that can actually build the video games they're playing. So it's like, well, that's interesting. Okay. So now that I've adjusted the lines a little bit more. Okay. So let's go back to here and zoom out a little bit. And let's make a new layer above that. And pen tool here. Click here and click here. And go over to swatches and here, and let's make it a blue color. Okay. Let's go over here, and why don't we reset the stroke here and make this 5. Yeah, that's clearly visible. Okay, and now we can use this as a reference line. And we'll make this into a group. And we'll duplicate this line. And move that here. Let's open up a new window. I should say a new view. Pop it out so we can look at it at the same time. Okay. Now that gives us reference points. Hmm. I don't know. That funny enough sounds more human-like than bot-like. Okay. So that gives us our reference lines here and how things should line up. Okay. Let's pop back over to Blender real quick. And it can... Okay, actually, let's pop back over here. Go here. And we can actually... Let's duplicate... I can actually minimize this one out of the way. Duplicate that. Zoom out. Grab a line and slide it over here. Zoom in. Bring this back up. Move this over. Zoom in here. Ah, the references are up there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drag this above the references. Okay. And I'm going to temporarily hide this. Get that like that and turn it back on. And why don't we actually move this one down to 1. Okay, got that. Let's duplicate the layer again. Grab this, move it right here. Okay, and now we have our references set up here. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I haven't played much Animal Crossing. Okay, gonna zoom this out. Go back over to here so I can now look at these together. Hmm. 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 This me humming here and humming here is me like, there's a trick I could do to overlay a grid in areas, but that would be too close to copying. So I'm just gonna like leave this alone because I could actually do a really accurate reproduction of where the lines intersect and stuff like that. But that's kind of like me just putting a piece of paper over that and tracing it. But no, I'm just gonna do it by eye. Just having good references helps. Okay. So first we are going to grab those two. Get back to this. And we want to scale this out until that line intersects that line, like so. And now I can grab that, move this to about here. And this is here. And like that. Okay. Let's see. Ah, good to know. Though I think you can actually set up like tags and stuff inside of Minecraft that prevent people from being able to destroy certain structures. Because I'm actually on a joint server with a bunch of friends, and there's actually an area that's set up that can't be demolished. Anything that we build on there can be destroyed, but the area itself can't be destroyed. So if we build something we don't want it to be destroyed, we tell the person who manages the server that please mark this as non-destructible, and they will set it up as non-destructible. Okay. So let's see here. I think this. I think that is about the right spot for that. Actually, and this could go down a little bit further. Yeah, I think that's about right there. Okay, and it says this is closer to here. And up here. Okay. Let's see here. I can actually click on that one so I can temporarily hide this layer. So that's a clearer image. Let's save that. Export. Export. Save. Excuse me. And let's see how that looks. Pardon me. In Blender. Okay. I forgot to get rid of the blue lines. But that's actually giving me a good idea for visual idea, I should say, on where things are. Ah. Oop. I can see why that doesn't quite work as a reference. Uh-huh. Because of the curve of the structure. Uh-huh. Okay, that's interesting there. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. That's just interesting there, isn't it? Okay. So, how am I going to rearrange this? Because the lines that I have in Blender are going to be a more accurate measurement of where I want things to be referenced. The blue lines are really close. Hmm. Okay. So let's create another view here. Zoom in over here. Okay, that's interesting. The measurement lines are unique per view. Okay, that does not work for me. Okay. It makes sense, but it's not what I need. Okay, so there's the alignment, and that kind of tells me how much I would need to curve it. Hmm, look at the difference there. Wow. Okay. Let's line that up right there. See how all that lines up. Okay, that actually works out pretty well. So that's actually in alignment there. Ah, hi, Mrs. K. Just stopping by to say hi. Thank you for stopping by my wonderful stream where I make art out of 3D polygons. Okay. So that tells me that that's curved that much. Enjoyed your stream, I believe it was last night, where you finished up that game. Uh, let's see, the one with the creepy psycho and the psycho ward, and you were a detective. Okay. Ah. Ah, Nine Clues 2. It was a sequel. I'm still surprised that the bad guy lived after having a bomb blow up behind him. I'm like, wouldn't there be shrapnel? I don't care if the bomb was in a pipe. That just directs the blast in a specific direction. He was like, what, 2 feet from it? Like, how is this guy still alive? Like, really? Uh, so now, how am I going to... Because that's the curve. That is a good note, but an explosion's still an explosion. Okay, so this line, the blue line's accurate just past there. That line's actually in a good position. Okay. Also, the way they cheap out on face animations in those games that I've seen you play, it's kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, they're using some weird motion tweening for the faces, and I'm like, wow. Okay. I'm like, these games have to not like have that much of a budget at all. Uh, like, I wonder how much art they reuse from like places that they can just buy rights free art for the backgrounds and all this other stuff. Because like, wow, these games just like they have like nice art and then they cheap out on the animation. Maybe that's where all the money goes, is like making the art really pretty when it's not moving. Okay. Okay, this section over here actually needs to be a little shorter. Good to know. Okay, let's hop back over here. And this section right here. Okay, so if we highlight that, turn on this function. Actually, let's do this and turn on that. Move this to the line. And let's squish that in. Okay, that's not quite doing what I want to do, so I'm just going to undo that, and let's zoom in and actually put this to the edge right here. Okay. Let's save that. Export. Export. Save that. Hop back over to Blender. Okay, that's closer. Need to actually lift the corner up a little bit. I do enjoy you watching. I do enjoy you playing those games, Mrs. K, because they're like they've got some weird stories in them sometimes. It's like did, did they just that wasn't a very wow. Where did you guys learn how to write? Okay. And what's really funny is like you're a writer, so you can look at this stuff and go, huh. Okay, that's that. Yeah. Um, I was curious. Have you ever played the Phoenix Wright games, Mrs. K? Also, I just forgot where the save button was, and then I remembered, so that's good. So, yay for ADHD moments there. Yeah, I was like, I think there's a Windows version of the first three games. I was like, well, that'd be fun to watch on her stream sometimes if she ever had a copy or anything like that. Because I'm like, the stories in those are so much better, and they're very point and clicky. So, because I've actually been like trying to think of games I could suggest to you to play. And I'm like, okay, based on the games I've seen her play so far, she really likes um, find point and click find stories and stuff like that. It's like, well, Ace Attorney is like that, so that's kind of cool. Those are probably right up her alley. So I've just been like trying to think of games to suggest. Okay, did that? Did the save? Did I? I think I did the export already. Yeah, saved. It doesn't hurt to export again, so let's export again. Uh, okay, go back here. Make sure I'm selected. Okay. Yep, that's right on the money right there. Okay. Yeah, I think it's even the right distance from the edge. Okay, so I think that line is right up there. I just need to end this here. Dee dee dee. I've never actually played any of the Professor Layton games. Um, they just like weren't really my thing at the time, so and I only had so much money to toss towards games I wanted to play. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So that feels about right on that. So let's move this down to right here. Oh, I just remember this one game I actually have that you might like, Mrs. K. Uh, it's a very point and click adventure, puzzle solving, find items, put them together to get out of the situation you're currently in. It's very tropey, um, and especially specifically because it's kind of focused around those Indiana Jones style serials that were way in the past. So it has a lot of those story tropes in them. Um, I haven't like played all the way through it, but it's pretty. It's pretty fun. The voice acting's pretty good in it. It does have some stereotypical accents for that type of movie, so it's not the like most PC as it were game, even though it's on the PC. That's kind of funny there. Um, so let's see what game is that called? Wrong button. Dee dee dee. Da, 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 da. It's called Lost Horizons. Is the game. So that's a pretty fun game. Okay. Let's see. We got that. It's just past noon, so I'm going to finish up tweaking the texture a little bit here. And then I think I will wrap up the stream in a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Got that. Got that. How high is that? Okay. This line here could be a little bit lower. So I'm going to grab that and move it down. Let's say to about here, because I know this line kind of stops being accurate after a point because of the surface, that it curves so much on the 3D model that this line here kind of stops being an accurate guide after a point. Okay, here. Let's see. Okay. And why don't we actually move this down? I know this part of the line's pretty accurate, so I do that. And let's move this out here. Grab that. Okay. Let's move this down here. And let's save that as is. Export. Ah, okay. So, just to check something, do you and Mr. K both have like a single monitor set up for when you're doing streaming? Okay. Dee dee dee. Got that, got that. Exported it. Let's go over to Blender. Ah! So I'm guessing you have the chat up on your phone? Because I've heard you talking about your phone sometimes when you're looking at the chat. Ah! Ah! Okay. Reload that. Ah! Okay. Now let's see, where am I? That looks good. That looks good. That actually looks good there. This actually needs to be back over this way some. Okay. So let's do that real quick. So this is actually going to be back over this way. So let's move that over here. That, grab the little rotation dial. Oop. Slide my mouse up a little bit so I can get more precise. Do that. Save. Export. Okay. Yeah, I actually have a 2 monitor setup myself. I actually have a stack. I have them basically stacked. I have my main monitor in front of me, and then I have a shelf behind that monitor that has the other monitor on top of it. So I'm actually have them vertically aligned. So I just look up to my workspace, which is the larger screen, which is the screen behind the main screen. And then on the main screen is where my streaming software is and the chat is. And I also have it set up so the chat's actually shown in the stream itself. I think it works better for my setup. Like if I was playing a game, I might have the chat set up on the side. I might not. Still kind of playing around with that idea. Okay. I also have a nice little side keyboard thingy that was actually designed for video games. But I use it for other things because, like, wow, it's got all these programmable keys. I have a lot of software that uses a lot of different shortcuts. I could just program keys for that. So that's nice. Ah, okay. That's actually pretty good. I didn't update that, so let's. Okay, what does that look like? That actually looks pretty good. Let's see here. I think this line actually curves out to the right. Yeah, I don't think he was watching multiple monitors at once. He had just one giant monitor that had multiple segments for multiple different video sources. Okay, let's see here. This line here could actually be a little closer to the blue line. Okay, so let's tweak that. Excuse me. Okay, save, export, save. Okay, hop back over to Blender, refresh. Yeah, that feels better. Okay. Yeah, and looking at this line right here more, I think that's about where it should be because in the reference line, this line here and this line here are almost parallel to each other. This one's got a slight curve towards this. So I think that's pretty close. So, because I'm not trying to be super accurate, I'm just trying to get it to feel better. So this line also is a little bit taller and curves to the right slightly. I don't know if they do, but I know a lot of TVs can't actually do that because of the difference between digital and analog. Um, and it's like extra hardware. Because I know a lot of more expensive TVs kind of just have it as a default option. It's kind of like back when 3D was trying to become a thing again. Like it was better to just buy a 3D TV and not use the 3D than just buy the same model without it, because the one with the 3D had a little bit more horsepower in it to be able to do the 3D. So it could do some other stuff and was a better picture anyways if you just left the 3D off. And I'm still trying to figure out like how do you like I guess it's because the picture in picture modes you usually only watch the video from another feed, not the audio. And I think some of them had a toggle where you could toggle the audio back and forth between the picture in picture mode and the other one. I always thought it was cool, but like after thinking about it for a while, I was like, I'm never gonna use something like that. Okay, so we got this. Let's bring this down here and put this right here. Grab this and actually bring it up a little bit. Curve it slightly. Let's bring it down. Back to this here and actually thicken it up on the top end. Okay, save. Let's see, it's a little bit past 12, so I should be wrapping things up for today. So I am just going to export this and see how it looks in Blender and probably wrap things up for the day. Okay. This could be a little bit higher. Yeah, this line could be a little bit more out. Okay. Uh, Actually, it was like I would say there was more like three people. If you're going to split it up into three sections, there was the people who had them. There was the people who didn't have them, and there was the people. Then there were people. Then those were the people who didn't want them because, like, why do you want to watch me when we're talking on the phone, kind of thing. And yeah, video phones were always pushed hard, like way in the past, and they never took on until we had them ubiquitously. Wow, I barely said that word. When I mean ubiquitously, they were actually built into our phones, and everyone has pretty much a smartphone. And they have built-in cameras, so of course we're gonna like get the most out of video calls then. And then the computer kind of just defaulted to having the webcam built in, so everyone had one, and the internet got fast enough that you can actually do video calls without a special service. So there you go. Yeah, I remember stuff like that. People had fish tanks. They had their lawns. Um, a lot of zoos still have them for being able to watch certain critters and stuff like that. I think there's a ducks webcam that I think Mrs. K's Twitch channel points to or something when you're not streaming. I remember seeing animals on there every now and then. Okay. C D D D D. Ah, okay. I think that's it. They got one for chickens too. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I got that, got that. Okay. This, get that. It's always a lot of poking and prodding these textures just right. And as I say just right, I like do the gesture from Emperor's New Groove. I think his name's Pacha? God, it's been so long since I've heard the name that my brain just does not have it. ADHD problems. Yay. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. Pacha. Yeah, that's like a wonderful meme. I was one of the first people in in my chat to come up with a way to use emojis to do that signal, and everyone just like grabbed it from there. And then of course now we have people have made art emojis that are that in their characters and stuff like that. So that's cute. Ah, that has always been one of my favorite movies. Um, Emperor's New Groove. It started out. If you looked at the history of that movie, it started out as the story where a prince, the prince and the pauper. That's actually what that started as. Um, and it was supposed to be a really big musical, and it was like I wouldn't have mind seeing that version of the story. It was neat, and then I think what happened is during development, the heads of Disney changed, and they didn't want to have anything to do with that style of movie anymore, so it kind of got scrapped, and they took some ideas from that movie and turned it into what we now have as the Emperor's New Groove. So they took the Prince and the Pauper story and decided to make a pun off of the Emperor's New Clothes. So there we go. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for joining me in the stream, Mrs. K. Thank you for joining me, Sasami-chan. And thank you for all of those who joined later on the video on demand section. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please be nice. If you want to have a discussion, that's a good place to do it. Just make sure to be nice. Thank you, Mrs. K. Tell Mr. K hi. You two are always so much fun to watch and interact with. Ah, and you are also great to interact with, Sami-chan. You have a really good head on your shoulders. It's really nice to talk with you. As the usual closeout, like, comment, subscribe, share this video. We have playlists. Um, Napping's good. I like napping. We've got three styles of video on the channel right now. We have the streaming, which I'm doing right now. We have Ember's Reading Room. I almost said Emperor's New Groove again, by the way. We have Ember's Reading Room, which is pretty popular on this channel. We have the Thoughts On series, which is me and Ember's thoughts on various pop culture topics. Ember's Reading Room is us reading childhood stories and sharing our thoughts on them as we've gotten older and what we think about them now. If you want to help support the channel, share videos, like, comment, subscribe, like I've said before. But if you want to support things financially, we have a Coffee and a Patreon. Coffee is more of a one-time thing, though they're going to be adding some subscription features in the future. I do have a I do have a digital store on there where you can buy high-quality versions of some images I've done in the past. They're higher quality versions than anything that's been online before. The Patreon is a monthly thing, as low as $1. You get access to all my art early and basically more detailed progress reports on this image as I go along, and some renders I don't show online. The renders are also higher quality, so if you want to look at certain things in more detail, you can go there. Let's see. Looking at my notes. yeah, that seems to be everything for the usual outro. Thank you all for joining me. Hope you all have a wonderful time wherever you are. I need a better outro. um, and I will see you all next time. It will be next week on give me a second here. It will be next week on Tuesday. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Okay, I will see you all next time. Bye.